whether to have a philosophy, but only which philosophy to have. His choice is whether his philosophy will be conscious, explicit, logical, and therefore practical, or random, unidentified, contradictory, and therefore lethal. In these essays, Ayn Rand explains some of the steps necessary to achieve a conscious, rational philosophy. She teaches the reader how to identify, and then evaluate, the hidden premises at work in his own soul or nation. She makes clear the mechanism by which philosophy rules men and society, the forms that abstract theory takes in daily life, and the profound existential consequences that flow from even the most abstruse ideas which may seem at first glance to be of merely academic concern. She shows that when an idea is rational, its consequence, ultimately, is the preservation of man's life, and that when an idea is irrational, its consequence is the opposite. Contrary to the injunctions issued to men for millennia, Ayn Rand did not equate objectivity with disinterest. She was interested in philosophy, in the objectivist sense of self-interest. She wanted, selfishly, for the sake of her own actions in life, to know which ideas are right. If man needs philosophy, she held, he needs one that is true, i.e., in accordance with reality. Philosophy, Who Needs It?, is the last work planned by Ayn Rand before her death in March of this year. The book was first suggested by a Canadian objectivist, Walter Hubscher. In the fall of 1981, he wrote to Miss Rand, "In your articles, you detail dramatically how everyone, through each statement he makes, uses philosophical premises. If such articles were published in a single volume, I believe that it would focus direct attention on philosophy's powerful influence, identify the philosophical roots of some of today's most dangerous trends, and indicate that it is possible to reverse a cultural trend, that everyone can and should get involved in doing just that." Miss Rand was pleased with Mr. Hubscher's idea of a collection taken largely from her newsletter, the Ayn Rand Letter, and featuring as its title piece one of her favorites among her own articles, Philosophy, Who Needs It?, originally a speech given to the United States Military Academy at West Point. In subsequent months, with her publisher at Bobbs Merrill, Grace Shaw, and with friends and associates, she several times discussed her concept of the book. She indicated its contents and structure in general terms. She mentioned articles whose inclusion would be mandatory, and others that she regarded as optional. She did not live long enough, however, to determine the final selection of pieces or their sequence. It has fallen to me to make these decisions, guided, wherever possible, by Miss Rand's stated wishes. Following her policy in other anthologies, I have placed the more theoretical articles in the first part of the book, and followed them by more concrete applications and/or essentially critical articles. None of the pieces has been published before in book form. The title article is followed by one written originally as its companion piece. Next comes a group dealing with the objectivist philosophy. The first of these, Chapter 3, her analysis of what is or is not open to change, represents Ayn Rand's fullest discussion in print of one element of the objectivist metaphysics, the primacy of existence. The following discussions of the anti-conceptual mentality, Chapters 4 and 5, are a demonstration, in reverse, of one element of the objectivist epistemology. They show what happens to men who never fully develop the human form of knowledge, concepts. The open letter to Boris Spassky, Chapter 6, The Soviet Chessmaster, is a tour de force summarizing, in the form of a single startling example, the role in man's life of every branch of philosophy. With one exception, all the articles in this book were written between 1970 and 1975. The exception is Faith and Force, The Destroyers of the Modern World, Chapter 7. A speech given initially at Yale University in 1960, a few years after the publication